Every person here to Voice for Change Office, South Sudan. So we have a campaign for the 16 days of activism, and today we'll be going out with the border guys. So I'm going to read the press release. It goes like this. Gender-based violence and femicide in Juba County and Central Equatoria at large. Voice for Change VFC is a national women's empowerment organization in South Sudan. We involve women in decision-making process through creation of awareness among policymakers and communities on gender issues such as sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV, and femicide, international killing of women and girls for being female, and women's political participation and representation at all levels of governance and across sectors. This year, Voice for Change has once again joined the rest of the world in the 16 Days of Activism campaign against violence on women. This time round, our participation in the 16 Days of Activism is one of the activities in a 3-month rapid response project on SGBV in 4 payams of Juba County, Juba, Kator, Munuki, and Rajab, that is funded by CARE International. We have partnered with women groups, religious and local authority leaders, who are mostly men, GBV clusters, and female inmates at Juba prisons to raise awareness about gender-based violence, challenge discriminatory practices, and all for improved services to end violence against women in the Payams and Juba County for good. We are passing a very strong message to families, schools, communities, and workplaces that violence against women and girls is preventable, not inevitable. Violence against women and girls must stop. As Voice for Change, we recognize that men are overwhelmingly the perpetrators of gender-based violence. We are very deliberate about targeting men for this change. We know shifting these behaviors is hard and slow, but we are determined and know that true change will come if both men and women work together for gender equality. We want to put an end to rape and sexual violence against women and girls in Juba County. I would like to pass this message to the following. 1. Individual, reject and report abuses. Act and don't look away. 2nd, reject and report abuses. Act and don't look away. 3rd, sign the pledge against GBV. Don't engage in activities and become an abuser. Stop abuse. Challenge and denounce cultural practices that perpetrate gender inequalities. Be sensitive and supportive to GBV victims. Share helpful information and support courses near you. Seek personal help to change harmful behaviors such as alcohol and substance abuse. Teach children values of gender equality. Protect children from exposure to violence and harmful content on internet and social media, including pornography, sexual solicitation. Develop policies that prevent and deal with gender violence in your sector, workplace, and communities. And lastly, organize targeted communities outreach and dialogue on solutions towards a gender equality society by President Cyril in September 2019. And the target to communities: be an activist against GBV in your homes, communities, workplace, and position. Challenge cultures and practices that perpetuate gender inequalities and consequent abuse on women and children and personal and societal level. Don't force the survivors to marry the rapist. On national and state government to immediately table the anti-gender-based violence bill before the reconstituted transitional national legislative for adoption. Ratify the Maputo Protocol, enact the family law. Ensure the safety and protection of all women, girls, and boys for us to join and consolidate efforts, create safe and free environment. They are targeted to strengthen the justice and rule of law institution and expand the gender-based violence and juvenile courts to address the rampant cases of SGBV. Strongly recommend the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare to embark on a massive nationwide campaign against SGBV and women's rights promotion through the Republic of South Sudan. The government to strengthen the community police in all areas, and to civil society organizations to work closely with their various communities to provide protection and safety to their women and girls. Organized capacity building sessions are needed for local leaders in order to sensitize and harmonize the laws with the cultural norms. Comprehensive engagement of the youth for different perspectives, including economic, social, and cultural. Increase economics projects for women so that there is not an dependence on men financially, and gender mainstreaming in the security sector, and support the recently developed women's network in the police, army, and prison service to ensure they are effective in preventing and responding to the needs of women and girls at all levels of communities. Donors. Building of government institutions, for instance, training of armed forces in gender equality and human rights. Increase funding in different institutions in the country so they are able to prosecute and bring perpetrators of CRSV to account. A coordinated approach with NGOs, embassies, and the United Nations was strongly emphasized, as was the need for capacity building to comprehensive and intensive. VFC will be having a GBV caravan mounted by border riders on the 30th of November, this is today, part of the celebration to conclude the 16 days of activism for 2021. Together, let's take actions to support the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children. Viva Voice for Change. This is from Madam Lona James Elia, Executive Director, Voice for Change. So thanks everyone for joining us today for the campaign that is take responsibility, protect women and girls against gender-based violence. Viva Voice for Change.
And what's your name, the one who is speaking?
I'm called Susan Michael.
Can you tell us the areas you're going to move with the caravan, and why have you chosen to move around?
We are going to move to Lao, then near Saba. We are supposed to proceed to Mobile, Muduria, then through the ministries back to the office. But to our knowledge, it's like the road has been closed. Part of the roads have been closed.
Okay. Any reason as why you chose the caravan to move around?
Yeah, because we have a message that we want to pass out. There are people who are ignorant about the 16 days of activism. So when we go out, we preach those who have heard about it, and they will tell others, and in this way the gospel will reach those who have not heard.
How about well-wishers who want to join you? What do you tell them?
They're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Mine is going to be brief. Huh?
Okay.
So, Voice for Change